Is this now considered officially, Rebecca, a default?
Well, we haven't had Sunac or anyone yet coming out to use the D word, but it certainly does look likely, particularly given the scale of missed payments that Sunac itself is saying we might see here. And of course, with this missed payment at the end of a grace period on a coupon, there is a risk of cross default in any case on the other dollar bonds. Either way, it does look like we are in for quite a significant restructuring. And Sunac saying, of course, it's hired advisors to help. In and of itself, the risk of default has largely been priced into the dollar bonds. You see they're trading at around 19, 20 cents on the dollar. But I think the important thing here is really Sunac is one of these stronger developers that just a few months ago, back in February, trading around 85 cents on the dollar, that was thought to be immune to the credit crisis that we saw take many of the sort of other prominent names, Kaiser, Evergrande, and so on. And so we really are moving into this sort of second phase of a crisis where many of these much larger developers are now coming under enormous financial stress. And the other point, of course, to think about with Sunac is that really what triggered this latest crisis is just 4 or 5 sort of coupon payments that actually amounted to quite a small total dollar payment.
Right. Now, put this against the backdrop of this big picture. You guys are out with the credit tracker, of course. High yield yields are back above 20%. What's the state right now?
Absolutely. Well, in some ways, this is a global phenomena in that, this is a really rough time for global high yield credit. We're seeing this very sharp sell-off. But for China in particular, it grappling with so many different crises. The developer crisis, of course, continues. And part of this is because of the COVID lockdowns that we're seeing and the stress about that. It's sort of implicated in so many parts of the Chinese economy, of course. But for offshore debt in particular, we are seeing stress at these highly elevated levels continuing, even as defaults pull back a bit. Of course, Sunac now raising the issue of more possible defaults that coming through. And of course, the other question is, well, we have these kind of sort of lockdowns across various parts of China. The issue is whether or not developers that are struggling logistically, can they continue to sell assets? Can they continue to develop their projects? There are so many issues that they are now facing.